Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Sophia Faisal and today we are going to discuss about how to calculate cumulative frequency for O-level mathematics. Cumulative frequency is actually calculated by adding the frequencies given in the answer. We are taking a sample of October-November 2017 paper 22. I'll just read out the question for everyone once so that we can start calculating. A company asked their employees how long they took to travel to work one day. The table summarizes the time for 120 employees. Now, basically, they are asking that there is a company which has almost 120 employees, and this graph shows that how many employees are staying for a particular span of time. For example, for 0 to 20 minutes, 12 employees are staying, just like for 20 to 40 minutes, 28 employees are staying, and so on. Now we are required to complete the cumulative frequency table. Now again, how to calculate cumulative frequency? As I said before, it is calculated by adding the frequencies. First of all, we have to make sure that the first ever frequency will always remain the same. We are given 0, and then the first cumulative frequency will always remain same. Now we have to calculate the cumulative frequency for time which is less than or equal to 40. As you can see that we have given a time from 20 to 40, there's 28, and less than 40, it's 20. Now it's basically very understandable that this is also included in this. So we are going to add 12 plus 28, which is actually 40. So the cumulative frequency is 40. Now we have to calculate the cumulative frequency for 60. How we'll calculate it? We'll add the sum of this, which actually came out 40. We'll add this into this. So after, when we'll add 40 into 45, we'll get the cumulative frequency for time 60, which is 85. We have the number 85 now, and now we'll add 85 into 22. You have to make sure that the total value you come out from the previous sum, you have to add the next value of this only. So we'll add 85 into 22 again, and we'll get 107. Now there's a trick to check out the answer, that if your answer is correct, that the last value you have calculated, now you can do the same procedure. You can add 107 to 13 and you'll see you'll get 120, which is already given. So you now know that your answer was correct. We have the cumulative frequency here, and now you just simply have to plot. You just have to make sure that the scale given is correct. I'll try to plot a few points for you. Again, 0 will always remain 0. So the point would be at origin. We know that at 20 minutes, we have the cumulative frequency 12. So we'll plot it on the y-axis. Plot it, I think 12 would be nearly here. And then on 40, we have it 40. For 60, we have 85, which would be nearly here. And then for 80, we had 107. And for 100, we had 120. So this is the cumulative frequency graph. And now you can join it with freehand. Almost all the graphs of cumulative frequency looks like this. This is how you calculate cumulative frequency and gain almost 3 to 4 marks. Now our next part is to calculate mean, interquartile range of the lines. Okay, so our next part that our question gives us is usually to calculate or estimate the median time, the interquartile range, and the mean, which is also very easy. Just a little bit more have to be careful to obtain the most accurate answer, because the question always says estimate. So you have to go through the most accurate possible answer you can. So first of all, we learn how to calculate the median time. The median time, basically when you hear the word median, you actually refer it to medium or half. This is what somehow actually median time means. Now, how to calculate median time? For first, you have to calculate 1 upon 2 multiply by the last cumulative frequency value you have. The last cumulative frequency value that we have in our table is 120. Then clearly see, it will always be given to you or you have to calculate it, but it will always be this last value. For example, in this paper, we have it 120. So we are going to multiply it by 1 upon 2, which will give the answer 60. Now we have to, if we just look that we have to calculate the median time. And the time we are given in x-axis. Now this 60, what do you have to do? Now the trick is that after you have calculated 60, now you have to look for 60 on the y-axis and drop it on your graph at y-axis. Always I do this so that the examiner gets to know it. Whenever I find my value, I write at the next, drop at x, so that the examiner knows that what are you doing. Now you take 60 horizontally, and where it is intersecting with the cumulative graph, you'll drop it there on the graph on the y-axis. And if you look carefully, my answer is coming quite nearly. If you see, this is where my line is intersecting originally, which is actually giving me, I hope you people can see where my line is intersecting. My line is intersecting at this point. This is where the graph is intersecting, which is almost 47 to 48. Obviously, the marking scheme allows us about a range, so you can go far with 1 or 2 numbers. So my answer is 47. Your answer might vary by 1 or 2 minutes. So the accurate possible answer, there's a range given in marking scheme. So my answer is 47, which is correct. I hope you get to know now how to calculate the median time. Now our second part is the interquartile range. Now the way we have to calculate interquartile range is upper minus lower quartile range. Now what is upper and lower quartile range? Now the quartile says its word itself, that out of 4. The upper quartile says 3/4 and lower quartile says 1/4, which actually makes up a whole thing. I hope that's pretty understandable. So for upper quartile range, we have to find out 3/4 of again the last frequency we have. So if we understand that 3/4 of 120, we have to see what is the 3/4 of 120. It's 90. So again, you have to see in your graph, see where 90 lies, and you have to drop your graph at 90. Again, till where it is intersecting from your cumulative frequency graph. Okay, now it's possibly here. Okay, I hope it's visible again. Okay, it's exactly landing on 64. If you just look, it's landing 62 and 64, exactly on 64. So my upper quartile range is 64, and my lower quartile range I have to find out by 1 upon 4th of 120, which is actually 30. So I'll just drop my x-axis from 30 from the y-axis. So I'll just plot 30 on the graph, and I'll drop it back on my y-axis. Okay, and again it is landing exactly on 34 this time. So my upper quartile is 64 and my lower quartile is 34, which makes my answer upper quartile minus lower quartile, which gives me 64 minus 34, which equals to 30. So my interquartile range is 30 minutes. I hope everyone gets it. Now we have come to a more complex kind of formula. Now this question contains 3 marks, which are very worthy, so you have to make sure that you get the accurate possible answer. It is about to calculate mean. The formula to calculate mean is sum of fx divided by sum of f. Sum, now let's just see what the formula says. This sign means sum. So sum of fx divided by sum of f. F here means frequency and x means the midpoint. Okay. Now we have to go back to this table again, and we'll notice that, oh, we don't have x here. So yes, we have to calculate x here and then multiply it by f. Take out the sum of fx and divide it by f. Now that looks very complex. So we'll pay a little more attention here. Now I'll tell you how you'll calculate x. So now we are learning how to calculate x. X is basically the midpoint, and it is the midpoint of the range that has been given to you in the answer. So the ranges, we are given different ranges, and now we'll take out the x, the midpoint. The formula of taking out x is basically the range. I'll refer the ranges by t1 and t2. So we'll have to plus t1 plus t2 divided by 2, because we have the number of ranges of our table given is 2, so we'll divide it by 2. For example, our first range is 0 and 20, so we plus 0 and 20 divided by 2, which will give us the answer 10. Then 20 plus 40, I'm calculating the second range. 20 plus 40 divided by 2, 20 plus 40 is 60 divided by 2, I'll get the answer 30. Okay, you can write the answers below so that it's quite easy for you to calculate. 60 plus 40, I'll get 100 divided by 2, it will be 50. 80 plus 60, 140 divided by 2, I'll get 70. And 100 plus 80 is 180 divided by 2, I'll get 90. I hope that was pretty much easy. Now the things have been easy. We have the frequency already given in the table to us. We have the x. Now it's just time to put this all in the calculator. Now you have to take out the sum of the fx first. You'll multiply frequency and x, which will give you the fx. Fx actually means frequency multiplied by the midpoint. When you'll multiply these two values, you'll get your fx. So first you multiply them and take the sum of them, just like I've done in this part. I've already done it. These are my fx, and I'm taking out the sum of them divided by the sum of my frequency, which is already given to me here, that there were 120 employees. That means the frequency will total be up to 120. You'll divide and you'll get the answer. 49.3 is the answer of this question. I hope now you have understood how to calculate cumulative frequency, median time, interquartile range, and the mean time taken. Thank you for watching.